Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Chuck.
And today we have with us a very special guest. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Stephanie Rutledge.
Well, Stephanie, where are you from?
I'm from Coons, Texas.
You're from Coons, Texas. Big city. How do you spell that? For those in the audience, that's a strange, I know how to spell it, but how do you spell that for those who have never heard that town before?
Kountze.
Yes.
Z.
It's a pretty fascinating thing. It's a very small town in Southeast Texas. And at one point in time, it was actually a kind of thriving business area. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of...
It's a county seat.
Yeah, it's a county seat for Hardin County. Mm-hmm. It had a lot of activity with rail, with timber. It was, big industrial area.
Big little. I like that.
Yeah,
That's a great way to describe it.
Yes,
Big little.
Big little. Yes. And at one point in time, some years back, it was actually famous nationally for being one of the worst speed traps in the country.
I believe it. I've been a victim.
It had one of those graduated speed limits where when you come into town, it was like 75 and 65, 55, 45, quick 10, stop. Yes. And they had cops sitting there waiting, and we made national news as, Right.
They used to have a female cop up there that was, oh man, she got me all the time.
Really?
I have little things on my license where I have to pay more. My husband gave me a radar detector, so when I'm clear, I'm good.
Right.
So, yes.
Yeah.
Speed trap.
Yeah. Speaking of law, I think Coons is also nationally famous for their cheerleaders putting the scriptures on the banner.
Yes. That's right.
Went all the way, went to one of the Supreme Courts, one of the layers, until one of our lawyer friends right here in town,
where they were protected.
And they were protected. That's right.
So,
I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else. I mean, it's a great town to grow up in. Small town, something we said about small town.
Well, scholastically, they produce some pretty high achieving students.
Yes.
And otherwise, they've produced some pretty high achieving people.
I would agree with that.
Not to exclude our guest today.
There you go.
So did you spend your entire childhood in Coons?
I was 1 year in Lumberton, but the rest was in Coons.
Okay.
Yes.
Where were you born?
Silsbee.
You were born in Silsbee?
Born in Silsbee.
That's right. At one time, there was a True Blue hospital in Silsbee, Texas.
Yes.
I do remember that.
It was the county seat at one time.
Silsbee was?
There was a big fire and everything moved to Coons.
We aren't teaching me. I didn't know.
I think there's a little suspicion in that story I was told, but either way, it ended up in Coons. It may be one of those things like the Walmart in Lumberton, somebody on the land, and next thing you know, the courthouse popped up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You never know.
Hey, Texas has its stories.
Did it? So you were born in Silsbee. You grew up in Coons. Tell us about your siblings. You have a lot of siblings. Tell us about that.
I have one brother.
One brother.
One brother.
Older, younger?
He's older. He's 2 years older.
Now, I know your brother, and I know you, but the audience doesn't. So I'm going to ask you questions like I have no idea what's going on. So what was childhood like for you? How much older is he than you?
He's 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And it was like a survival for me, having an older brother.
You barely made it out alive.
Yes. My best friend is just a month older than me. And her older brother is 2 years older, was the same age as my brother. And so it was intense. Yes.
So your brother, did he, as you were growing up, now I'm not talking about how y'all would fight and get each other in trouble or anything like that, but as y'all were growing up and approaching teenage years, was he protective over you?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Did his friends come over to see you?
I don't think so. Or if they did, I wasn't paying attention to that. And he didn't let it out that they were there.
Okay.
Or they didn't get to stay very long if he figured out they were there to see me. So, I don't know.
So you have a lot of business drive. You're an ambitious person. And I'm going to bet that was heavily influenced by
My daddy.
There you go. So describe your dad to us.
He's my hero. He's my best friend. He owned his own construction business that he started with his dad. I think in 1964, it was Bibb's Construction. And then my dad took that just to the next level and started Century Trucking in Dirt Pit. And so I always knew, I grew up writing tickets for his trucks in the bottom of the pit. when he would, go down to the convenience store, I would jump on the dozer a little bit and try to figure out a little bit and get off real quick before he would get back. But he gave me the drive to want to work for myself because I always saw him work for himself, and I wanted to be like my dad.
That's amazing.
That is.
Yes.
That's amazing. So what was discipline like for you growing up? Let's say, I don't know, around 10, 12 years old. What was that like?
You would get one of Daddy's talks.
A talk, huh?
Yeah, and we had a round table in the kitchen with 4 chairs. Still sits there today, the same place. And you would get called to the table, and it was a lengthy discussion. But he always had great points. I mean, I wouldn't admit it back then, but he always had great points, and there was a lesson that he was trying to teach us. Now, we were not receptive to that then, but looking back, everything he did was to teach us in his own way. And then if it was really bad, you'd get a whooping. You would grab that same table and you would get a whooping. But he didn't really have to whip us a lot. It was more of a discussion, a very one-sided discussion. It was more him talking than anything. But nonetheless, and when it ended, he wrapped it up and he was trying to teach us something.
Right.
Integrity, discipline, honor, just he would always tell us, like, there's 2 things that people can't take away from you, and that's your integrity and your drive.
Yeah.
They can't take that away from you. You have a good last name when you leave this house, and bring it back good. So
That's really good.
This is good.
So, as parents, you're a parent now, and we look back on things. I know that I personally have looked back on how I raised my kids, and I've never felt like I did good enough. Never. I always felt like, man, I wish I did better in this situation. I failed in this situation, on and on. As your dad, I would bet that he has those same feelings. If you were to tell him something about your childhood that was the most impactful, what do you think it would be?
He always made sure we went to church and that we put Jesus first. And he would I guess one of my fondest memories of Daddy, he had an old study Bible, or not story Bible.
Okay.
And it was tattered. I don't even really know where it came from.
Okay.
But he would, I guess back then it was like he had to make us, because we were kids, we wanted to play with Legos or whatever, but he would make us sit down either in the living room or on his bed, and he would read to us those Bible stories. And that has always stuck with me. And I wish I would have done more of that with my kids, because at the time you don't get the full meaning of that. Right. But once I think words land on you, I think they make an impact on you, whether it's now or later. That's so right. Looking back on that, time is so valuable. It's the most precious commodity we have. That's right. And so he was willing to take the time and do that. When he was running his own business, he had his own issues, personal problems. He's a young man. He wants to probably do anything else besides sit at home with kids, because he raised us, him and my grandmother, his mother. But he took the time to do that. And that always stuck with me.
That's really powerful. That is. I bet that hopefully he'll hear or watch this interview, and that will make his heart very happy.
I hope so. I hope I make him proud.
Well, knowing him as I do, I would speculate he's very proud of you.
I hope so.
So what did you want to be when you were, let's say, 13, 14, maybe 15? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a florist.
Really?
I did. I wanted to be a florist.
I did not expect that.
Yeah. It goes back to my dad. He has a green thumb. Like, it's almost kind of a competition with me. He gets a plan, I get a plan. Let's see who goes bigger. Never fails. I go over there. His is like 3 foot taller than mine. Mine's like this big. It's like 3 feet. I'm like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? But he had a green thumb, and I always had a love of, nature and plants and stuff. So I wanted to be a florist. So right out of high school, I went to Miss Johnson on Lindbergh. Really? And I got a job, and she taught me everything she knew. And so I had my daughter early. And so I figured, people won't always need flowers. They won't always need a florist. And my dad always encouraged me, go to nursing school. And I was like, I don't want to be a nurse. And, school's not for me, whatever the case. So my thought was, people, if the economy shifts, people won't always need flowers, but they will need medicine.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie. I like to be in the mix of things. So I called a local ambulance service and said, hey, what does it take to be an ambulance driver? Which that's very offensive nowadays. Being a paramedic, right. That's offensive. So I started going to EMT basic school at night. And then later on, that led me to go to nursing school. So I ended up listening to dad anyways. But I should have just
Kinda
done it
worked
right
out.
out of the chute.
Isn't it amazing how those
It is.
as parents, and you know this, like now that you're a mom and even a grandma and all that kind of fun stuff, you see this stuff happen, but your dad was planting seeds in you.
That's it. That's plant
Right.
seed. That's very good.
And that's what you've been doing as a mom with your kids.
Yes.
And sometimes those seeds take longer than others to germinate and
Right.
grow and bear fruit.
Well, even your dad's his business and his industry. I mean, I'm sure he likes what he does and all that. But he saw a need. And he just built the need and turned it into a business.
That's right.
And he didn't, a lot of times people get into things and like it. I wouldn't say it's their driving passion coming out of the 10th grade, but they know it's important, just like nursing
Yes.
and medicine and those things. Flowers are important too, but and that's always, those industries always interest me, because how do you turn an interest in a hobby into a career? That's a gift. Like turning music into a
I
career.
agree.
That's a gift. Not everybody can do it, but we all still enjoy it.
Right.
Yeah, I just bought flowers this morning. So there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell my dad all the time because it's hunting season. So I hunt at his land where he has his pit. And
Right.
he always goes down there and, most people take a weed eater or whatever. No, dad takes the dozer down.
Right. Of course.
We take the dozer to clear 2 lanes. and
That's
stuff.
right. That's the best
So
way.
it's good to know. It's good to know dad. And so we were down the other day and I said, Dad, you have the best office ever. He's just outside. He's in he's not, back in the day, he didn't have an air conditioned dozer or a Traco. He just in the heat. And he did that to ride for his family. But nowadays he has a air conditioned dozer and a Traco and stuff. And he has the best office ever. So yes.
That's amazing.
Yep. What's on earth?
So how many grandkids does your dad have? Oh,
He has 3.
3 grandkids. And he's still playing in the dirt.
Oh, absolutely. Down there today.
And how many of the grandkids have gotten to experience playing in the dirt with grandpa?
All of them. They all went down there at one point in their life. I mean, I've got pictures of my son as a toddler in the Traco with my dad. Yes, all of them.
How about great grandkids?
All of them.
Yeah.
They all do.
So that's a pretty amazing legacy.
Yes.
He is planting seeds of the value of honest hard work.
Yeah, you don't have to have a college degree to make a way. You don't. And a lot of people push that. And I think it's more sometimes for the parents encouraging, because you always want your kids to do better than you did.
Right.
Like I have 2 associate's degrees. I've never finished my bachelor's degree, but I wanted my kids to have a bachelor's degree. So both of my kids graduated from Texas State. So they did better to me. So that that's a win for me. But yeah, all my grandkids and my 3rd grandson, Kai, he's fixing to be 4. He is obsessed with all things construction, but his dad also does some of that too. So if there's a way to skip daycare and go hang out with his dad in the truck, on the track hoe, he'll correct you. That's not a backhoe. That's an excavator.
Yeah.
He will absolutely correct you.
That's all.
That's what he's doing. Kai is going to be on that equipment down there.
Something you said just then was extraordinarily valuable and powerful, because I believe we have a misconception a lot of times, especially our generation with our kids, but every generation does this. We say we want our kids to have better than we had, and that's wrong. You said it right. We want our kids to do better than we did.
Right.
That's much more powerful and empowering to that next generation. And it denotes a much better level of success as a parent for your kid to do better than you did, not to give them better than you had,
Right.
because that's enabling them to provide for themselves and to pass that on to the next generation.
Right.
That's an amazing legacy. And that, if nothing else anyone gets from this interview, that is supremely valuable.
Yeah.
And that is a seed that your dad planted in you, and very likely was planted in him by a previous generation. That's beautiful. That's like, that's our being a country song. Sincere, go do better. Yeah. Do better than I did. Do better.
Well, when you say you want them to have more, to me, when you have more, with great things comes great responsibility.
Yes.
With more things comes more debt, more stress, more, accountability, responsibility. Accountability and responsibility is not a bad thing,
No.
but it depends on what it's directed at.
Right.
So I don't want my kids strapped with a house they can't pay for, or they're barely paying for it, and they're missing out on things with their kids. That's not a healthy lifestyle to me.
Right.
So what my dad instilled was do better than I did.
I love that.
I do too.
Yes.
So I really appreciate that you said that, and I don't even think you caught it in the moment that you said it. It just came out so naturally.
I have my moments.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was great. You did that was amazing.
Yep.
So I hope that your kids and grandkids get to see this and hear this and understand the value of that. It truly is precious. That's a wonderful legacy to pass on. So from your childhood, you got a lot of precious memories, obviously. Is there anything that stands out as an extremely influential moment or person that mentored you other than your dad? I mean, obviously, he's a huge influence and mentor in your life.
my granny,
Your granny.
his mama, she lived on the same property that we lived on. Her and my papa bought that land, I don't know, 50, I think dad was figuring up last year, 50 something years ago, and just
Wow.
made their way from Beaumont to Beaumont Colony. And she was there. I mean, I don't ever remember my life without my grandmother until she passed away. And she was my best friend. She was a hoot. She could cook. She taught me how to cook. When, during the summer times when everybody else was out playing, she would make me sit at the kitchen table, the same round kitchen table that you would take lectures or butt whippings at,
Yeah, that's great.
and write her recipes down on note cards. And so now I have like my 10-year-old handwriting for her famous little chocolate pie. I couldn't even spell chocolate. I misspelled chocolate.
That's amazing.
So she would make me do that. And she would tell me, like, one day you're going to have a family of your own. You're going to have to cook for your husband. I'm like, I'm not getting married. Boys are gross. I'm not cooking for him. He can get his own food. I'm not doing that. But now those are some of my prized possessions.
Mhm.
And she was a Christian. She was one of the most godly women I ever met. And she would take us to vacation Bible school. She always made sure that we knew God was first.
That's wonderful. I mean, I love hearing how the family entirely is accented and centered around Christian beliefs.
Yes.
That
My
is
mom, her
beautiful.
mom, my grandma, we called her Grandma Bill. Same thing. Yes.
So, and this is a little bit of a sidebar. If you're ever interested, I have a friend with a laser engraving machine. He's done quite a few things for me and for us. And he just did a recipe, just like you're talking about. He took that recipe and engraved the exact handwriting into wood so that it would be a forever thing.
Like an heirloom.
Yes. And that's what he did. He took somebody's,
That's interesting.
and I just thought it was amazing. I forget what the recipe was exactly, but if you're interested, I'll connect
Yes, I
y'all.
would
Y'all
love that.
you can get some of those made
Yeah,
because those are priceless.
they are. Family heirlooms are priceless.
Yes.
You look back at these generations now. What do they value? Kids nowadays, what do they value besides their phone or social media?
Followers.
That's it. They're hiding behind screens and they just have a disconnect. I'm glad that I grew up when I did. I can have a conversation with you here in person. I can look in the eyes. I can shake your hand. That's another thing my dad taught me. If you're going to shake somebody's hand, shake their hand, look them in the eye, and mean what you say and do what you mean.
Yes.
I might have got that backwards.
It's okay. We get
But kids nowadays, and us as parents, we sit here and we're like, why do they do that? Why do you allow it? That's what I want to tell them. Like, why do you allow it?
good question.
You're the parent.
That's it.
If you're tired of your kid being on the phone, take the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're only meeting their expectations.
You're paying for the phone. It's your phone.
And so often it seems like the parent is too much worried about the kid liking them
Yes.
rather than parenting them.
Right.
I can be your friend later. I would tell my kids, I'm not your friend right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not your friend. I'm your mother. I'm your disciplinary. But don't kid yourself. This is a dictatorship. This is not a
Yes.
democracy.
That's right.
It's not.
No.
And we will be friends later. And now my daughter is 30 and my son is fixing to be 25 and they're my best friends. My son and I, we talk every day. He lives in New Braunfels. He graduated Texas State. I really thought my boy was going to come home, but he didn't. He stayed and he's doing wonderful up there. He's got a career. He's got a great girlfriend. And so I'm super proud of him, but that they're my friends now.
Yes.
And I can mentor them now and guide them, but they're great humans.
Well, that process begins early, but it really is significant when they don't need you to be mother as much.
Yes.
There's still a mother role, but when you don't need me to do that, then those needs are falling off and your adulthood stick in its place. because you can't be friends with anything other than that. You
Mhm.
have to have those associations.
It's seasons.
That's
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but these people who get it backwards, they want their child to adore them and all these things. That's back to the me, back to all about how
They're trying to live their life through their kids.
Mhm.
Their kids be friends, and what is kind of inappropriate and kind of weird to me nowadays are all these parents that want to be best friends with their kids' friends. Not even the parents.
Oh, isn't that weird?
I don't understand that. I knew all of my kids. I mean, yeah, all of my kids' friends. I knew how to reach them, but I went through parents, like the parents, not the
Yeah.
kids. I didn't snap. Of course, we didn't snap. I still don't snap. But all that stuff is a distraction. And when people have issues, they use that as their distraction. They don't know how to have conversations. They don't know how to shake a person's hand. They don't look them in the eye, makes them uncomfortable.
Right.
We can have a staring contest if you want to. I'm okay with that. But
Right.
this generation coming up, that's going to be running our country one day. Can they do that?
That's right. Can they? And I think there are those out there, but it doesn't happen because of a system. It happens because of the people who really care. School's not going to do it. Your teammates aren't going to do it. Your coaches, I mean, they can all have influence, I guess, but it's going to come out of the parents who want it. I want my child to be this. And until they project that future and then start feeding that future in a positive way, they're never going to see it.
No.
And sadly, we don't have to spend too much time on this morning, but sadly, we know too many people who wish they had a do-over.
Don't we all? In some aspect, we all wish we had a do-over.
Sure.
Like I got a ticket the other day. Boy, I wish I could do that over because that was an expensive lesson. I even have a radar detector. It let me down. It let me down that time. But that's the thing. We all wish we had a do-over, but too many people, including parents, live their life behind a screen.
Yeah.
And they have the mentality, I want my kids to have more than I have.
Yes.
Right.
What happened to the days where families could sit around and just be families and happy and not worry about what somebody posted on Facebook or TikTok, Instagram, or whatever about what they just bought.
Right.
A toy costs money. That's responsibility. And you might be up to debt to your eyeballs. So why are we not teaching these kids in school how to save money, reconcile a checkbook? Kids don't even know what a check is.
No, right.
I don't write a lot of checks, but
They don't know what a ledger is either. They
don't.
don't know how to balance any.
Right. Well, I
They
get
don't.
teenagers that come in for counseling, teenagers, young 20s. One of my first questions I ask early on about just, what's their interests and all the, tell me about your family. But at some point earlier, I want to ask you, what's your most treasured possession? What's the most treasured thing you have? And they look at you but the answers are so similar. Their inclination is to tell you about an item, my phone or, I got this, something I inherited or whatever. But if they think about it, they know better. It's what they know. It's their family. It's the people they love. And I was like, well, how are those relationships like? Not good. I go, I'm sure that's why you're here. Yeah. I need to do better. And I love those moments because they do know. Deep inside, they know. They know it has nothing to do with their stacks of friends or whatever followers. So they know.
yes.
And when they're alone, now when they're around their peers, I guess they go with whatever the flow is. But when they're in that room, no, they know what the real answer is. So there's hope.
One of the fascinating things that I've noticed about this new social media age, these generations that's all they know,
Right.
is that their value focus is on money. I was at the local juvenile detention center this past weekend doing a talk with them. We do that on a regular basis. And I asked them throughout the course that I was giving them, I asked them, what is your value? And the answers that I was given were based on monetary numbers. And it broke my heart because there is no monetary quantification of your value. And that's what all these pictures, seeing pictures with somebody has all these things and stuff, it puts the value in a money focus.
Yeah.
Right.
And the value is in the relationship. The value is in your ability to help other people transform and grow, and for you to grow and become and serve your fellow man. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things we lose in this followership society with the digital age is we lose that personal interaction. Right.
Well, they need to realize it's bigger than themselves. This is my parameter. If you encroach upon my parameter, you need to back up unless I invite you there. But kids nowadays think that that everything revolves around them. But parents put kids at the table. They give them a seat at the table. My kids didn't have a seat at the table. They were kids. You ask my kids, did we have a voice? Yeah, I listened to them and stuff, but ultimately what their dad or I said, that was it. And there was a reason. And I don't owe you the reason, but just know that it's in your best interest.
Yeah.
It's in the family's best interest.
Right.
We can talk about it. I will absolutely listen to everything you have to say, depending on the situation. But it goes back to like this is a dictatorship. Like
It's a monarchy.
it's bigger than you.
So
Yes, it's bigger than you. You have to realize that, but kids don't realize that now. Parents don't realize that nowadays, that it's bigger than them.
Right.
But, I think that you instill philanthropy and giving into your kids, and you have to lead by example.
That's
So
exactly
people who
right.
want to put their kids in all these key clubs and in all this HOSA and all this at school where they do all this community service, did you do that? Are you leading by example?
Yeah.
If not, it's just empty words. It's just something to put on a resume.
That's right.
And it doesn't mean anything. I'm not going to do anything that doesn't mean anything.
it's a common challenge I've found over the last couple of decades, I guess, to encourage people to find at least two things they can do that you could say, those are my ministries. You can do a lot, host of things. But these two things, and it could be I've been volunteering with this organization for all these many years. Like I said, good, you have these things, and then take yours, take your kids,
Right.
and take your kids' friends, and say, hey, come go with me. We're going to go over here and do this. And you never know what little deposit that's going to make, and whether they keep that same activity or when they get older, they find something.
Right.
And I didn't give it that credibility until years later, but my parents did that. They were big into church. They were big into a few activities. And I was 3 to 5 to 7 years old. I just tagged along. I guess it got in there somewhere. So
Yes.
now I wish I could do more, but I still got to make a living and pay bills and do other things like that too. But at least a couple. And
Right.
if they would just find two things, I really do think we could keep things on a better trend.
I agree with that completely.
And I know y'all do. I know y'all get involved, but I'm saying that for folks that may be listening, find something and then get your kids with you.
Right. Don't just have them see pictures of it. Oh, how
Right.
great mom or dad is. I'm super passionate about Alzheimer's disease.
Yes.
So my son and my daughter, they would go with me to these walks. We care for veterans. I'm super passionate about our veterans. My son became pen pals with some of our veterans.
Really?
And because he would just go and visit them and bring all of his war books and talk about it. I was like, oh, God, this kid's going to join the military. But I'm let him do what he wants to do. But he became pen pals with them. And I still see some of those families. And the first thing I see is how Blakely. My daughter, she's the same way. She is on several boards and volunteers. And I'm passionate about the Baptist Hospital Foundation and everything that they do in the community. So I serve on that board and help with the Lost Ray that's coming up in January. So they do a lot of good things. Here for a cause that's coming up. And so all of that money they funnel back into programs for the community. Same thing with Shannon Briggs at the Alzheimer's Association. Find something, be passionate about it.
Yeah.
Give yourself a purpose. Everybody needs a purpose.
Yeah.
There's a plug. There's your
Yeah,
purpose.
shameless plug. I love it. Thank you.
That's just everybody, and I don't care what age you
Money
are.
well spent today.
That's right.
You know.
I didn't even get the flowers.
But we hired the best guests. Yeah.
But like you say, like find a purpose, and I don't care what age you are, because we care for the elderly. Everybody needs a purpose, even if it's that Alzheimer's. The lady struggling with Alzheimer's, if she can sit on the couch and fold towels, that's a purpose.
That's right.
Not just sitting on the couch watching somebody. We get people involved.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's find a purpose.
I did too.
Better quality of life.
Yeah.
My folks, I counsel a lot of folks who've been through great loss and death, things like that. And that's one of the things I subscribe, which is interesting that you say that. I go, well, that basket of clothes isn't going to fold itself.
Right.
And you don't have to do the whole thing, just do a few towels, but you'll be amazed how well that feels when this looks chaotic and that looks ordered, and you made that happen.
Right.
And they get it. They eventually start reclaiming a lot of cool things because a lot of them are not that old or that enabled. They just feel like they're not. And so when we give them a little something, so as your employee, and we'll talk more about your business in a minute, as they're sitting there visiting and maybe helping, this person feels so accomplished. Yeah, man, that's untradeable. I mean, you cannot give that away.
I agree.
I like it. I like that your folks do that. So
Yes.
So you have illustrated for us your childhood, your structure of childhood, discipline, the whoopings, all those great things, the great memories. the seeds your dad planted in you, and then how that transferred into you planting
The table.
seeds, the table.
Yes.
I hope the table finds a home in a next generation.
Yeah, we'll never leave. It's there.
So what do you do now? Tell us about your current purpose.
My current purpose. Well, I own Synergy Home Care.
Okay.
I left bedside nursing January will be 16 years ago.
Wow.
And my purpose is to, I saw a need, fill a need, increase the quality of life for our community of elderly and their families.
That's an amazing thing. It's a wonderful purpose. It's a great mission. So what is Synergy Home Care? You know, I've learned a lot, and in what we do, we come across a lot of different industries. To be honest, when it first started, I didn't really know what home care was in comparison to hospice or home health care or, you know, any number of things. And I heard all these misnamings of it, you know, talking about adult babysitting, this, that, and the other, and it's terrible. It's terrible. It's not what it is. Tell people what home care is and tell people how Synergy Home Care provides service.
Well, home care is what we do is non-medical home care.
Okay.
And we provide care for people in their homes, wherever they call home. We do Alzheimer's and dementia care, Parkinson's care, cancer recovery, surgery recovery. I was a nurse, so I'm really passionate about transitional care from hospital to home or hospital to rehab and rehab to home, because I believe our healthcare system is broken. And so there's a lot of people that fall through the cracks, and it's not any fault of anyone at the hospital or the rehab. And that's the first people to get blamed. But having worked in the hospital and out in the field as a paramedic, I worked ER, worked labor delivery. You're the first one to get blamed, but really you're only working with what you got. And so they can't do it all. So we're passionate about going in there and helping people transition. And what I mean by that is when someone goes into the hospital, they're not going to take up residence there. Discharge begins on admission.
Right.
So we come in and we find out what services, what resources do they have at home once they go home. And we try to get home health or hospice, durable medical equipment in place, therapies in place, any kind of assisted devices that they would need, transportation. And then we look at the families, because we don't just care for our client. We're dealing with family members. You got an elderly lady over here that's taking care of her husband that has Alzheimer's. Well, guess what? He's elderly too. She's elderly. Who's taking care of her? Who's providing care for him while she goes and takes herself to the doctor or the beauty shop or anything that makes her feel like her? So we go in and we provide respite care for family members. And I believe that when you have healthy families, you have a healthy community. And so if we can work with our hospitals, our rehabs, our home health, and our hospices, this is a true interdisciplinary team. It takes all of us. It literally takes a village. It takes a community to make healthy communities. And so that's what we try to do. We try to plug in, fill the gaps, and provide the care.
You know, that was amazing. I built this little question I was going to ask you, and I didn't know, you know, how the answer would materialize, but you basically could have preached a sermon about that. Just
right.
I felt a lot of conviction, and
This is my mission field.
There it is.
that was big. That was really purposeful, and I love that you're not just focused on a physical outcome. That you're truly bringing hope into the care, and you're wanting to make the entirety of the circumstance better, the best possible outcome. And I had never heard it put that way before about hospital stay, how discharge begins at the moment of admission. That's amazing.
That's true.
And it's such a great perspective for people to grasp. And I never realized just how a great ministry a home care business can be.
Yes.
And I love to hear you describe it, because the way you put it, it was a ministry.
Oh, it's passion.
It is a mission field. You know, I always prayed and said, Lord, if you just let me follow my dad's footsteps and own a business, I'll do right. And I hope and I pray every morning, you speak to me in ways that I can understand. If you have to yell at me, Lord, yell at me. It speaks to me clearly.
Take me to that round table.
And bring people to my company that have a heart for this business and want to do this, because we're not flipping burgers. We're caring for people. And I always tell people, you know, you've always got that one favorite family member. You don't have to speak it out loud. Don't, everybody was like, oh, I have one. Don't speak it out loud. You don't have to do that. But ask yourself, how would you want them treated? And then I expect y'all to go out and treat every client that you come in contact with and their families just like that. Just like that.
And that's really, that is the driving difference right there.
It is.
You are in de facto, you are basically helping your own family.
Yes.
And they'll never fail if they keep that perspective. They keep that attitude. They will never fail.
Right. Because what's the first thing to ruffle somebody's feathers? Start talking about their mama or something. Family. And that's it. Family. And we are family with our clients and families with their families. You know, we're very close. You know, if my marketer now, she was coming in the other day and she was kind of hesitant. She's like, well, I just prayed with her and she thought she was going to get in trouble because a lot of employers will, you can't do that. I'm like, no, I'm glad. I mean, if they're open to that, pray with them. That might be the only time they ever hear the word of Jesus Christ. Pray with them. I want you to. You're never going to get in trouble. I mean, never. So this is our mission. And that's my prayers, that God sends us people that have a heart for this. And we can't do what we do without our caregivers. I mean, our caregivers are it's the heart of Synergy, literally. And that's our logo, is the heart, because our caregivers, we're not selling time. I mean, we're not selling scrubs or whatever. We're selling time.
That's right.
And the quality of time matters.
Right.
We don't want to go in there and just watch TV and be on our phone. No. I always ask people, what did your mom do for a hobby? What did she do for a living? Because if we can tap into that and get them involved in things, especially for someone
Give
who's
them
lost a
purpose.
spouse, and
Yes.
give them purpose, because people thrive better when they have a purpose.
That's right. Sure.
Like I said, whether it's folding the clothes,
Right.
or being able to go back to McDonald's and sit there and drink your coffee with your little men's Bible study, that means something to people.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't matter what age you are. They were 40 at one time. Not that I'm 40, but I'm part of myself. Like, no, they were 40 one time. Don't kid yourself. But they were our age one time,
Yes.
and they had dreams and aspirations. Just because you get a certain age doesn't mean you flip the switch.
That's right.
So
That's
that's what we do. And car keys, man, that's the biggest thing. Think about it.
Yeah.
Giving up your car keys.
Yeah. That's tough. Give up your independence. That's what it feels
That's
like.
what they feel like.
Yes.
But with caregivers that can transport you places, that's freedom.
You bring back that independence.
Yeah.
Bring back that
Because what
freedom.
do you want when you're 15? You want to be 16 so you can drive.
That's right.
It doesn't change when you're 80.
No.
Your eyesight might be failing, and they say at the DMV you can't drive, but that's freedom.
So there's a will, there's a way, though.
Yes.
You brought the will to provide the way.
That's right.
I love
You know,
that.
those people thrive after that. I mean, we had people that we come in, they're on hospice. We actually have a video on our website. We came in, this guy was on hospice, and they were like, oh, he's going to go in, a couple weeks. And I hate when people say that. Like, don't put it,
you don't
you don't
know.
know.
You
Don't
don't know.
timestamp them.
Right.
And he lived for like 3 or 4 years.
Come on.
He rallied, and he was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And you guys got to be a part of it.
Yeah, he was amazing.
That's 3-4 years of things to give,
Yeah.
things to offer the world.
And I could sit out there and talk to him because he was a rancher, and he just
Oh, wow.
cows
Wow.
and
Amazing
deer
stories.
and yes. So
I love
don't
it.
put people in a bottle just because of their age
Right.
or disability. Because we
Oh,
take
really?
care of people all ages.
I really like that your business gets to facilitate that.
Yes.
And I mean, sometimes you kind of need a system to make it happen, because that's just the way things are. They tend to run that way. And, but sounds like you guys have a pretty good model. And then you get to recruit people who share that.
Yes.
And in your interviews and in your vetting of folks, I mean, you can tell real quick if they're just here to make
Yes.
money or if they're here to make a difference.
We're not perfect. We don't get it right every time, but it's about communication. I tell my families, this is a relationship. It's like a marriage.
Yeah.
You can't stomp around and expect me to know, because I was raised by Wayne. I'm not real good about walking by and seeing a mean face or a sad face and going, what's going on? And I'm like, if it's bad enough, you'll come to me. If it's bad enough, you're going to come to me. So I need communication, So let's talk about this. I cannot fix what I don't know is broken. It's a relationship, and it is a business, and we have rules, but it's a relationship. And that goes with our community partners, with our hospitals, and just with our community in general. Because my philosophy is, if you go to work and you're worried about, is mom's at home by herself? Is she going to figure out that the lock that you put at the top of the door swings open and she can now get out, and she's going to be found walking down the street again?
Yeah. Right.
Are you fully going to be focused and engaged at work and give your
No.
employer 100%?
That's right.
You're not.
Right.
And rightly so. That'd be like leaving a kid at home.
Right.
So if we can step in, help out, We have a fully focused employee at work. We have productivity, whatever they're providing for the community or wherever. We have healthy communities. And we have a well-being program. Like, it's not just physical, it's mental, psychological, it's spiritual. We look at all of that. You know, some people get depressed because they can't go to church because they can't drive anymore.
Right.
We start driving them to church, and before you know it, the caregiver's going into church with them. Before you know it, the careger's saved.
Isn't that amazing?
This is a mission field.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing. We get to see God's work every single day.
Right.
So we're boots on the ground out there.
You find we even have opportunities for teaching some of these folks where, you know, they may not have the abilities to do things that they used to, but maybe there are digital versions. Like, for example, my mom goes to church online because she just doesn't trust kind of the way her health has declined to be sitting in a building for an hour, but she's pretty digitally savvy.
You
And
need
so-
Synergy Home Care, Chuck.
There, yeah, she's
Your mom
pretty-
needs Synergy Home Care.
Yes. And speaking of, I'm sure there's folks that may hear this episode and may be curious about accessibility. And I'm sure there's different avenues for affordability and those sorts of things because, you know, you're hiring quality professionals. Like you said, you guys do trainings. We've been involved with a few of those to make sure that, you know, you're sending the best folks out there in the best way. But as far as affordability, and we don't have to go into great detail, but I'm sure there's several ways to make that happen.
Yes. Some of our clients are private pay.
Mhm.
Some have long-term care insurance. Some of them have annuities that allow them to pull off the back for medical expenses. We care for veterans, and we work very closely with the Veterans Administration to get them and their spouse, because it covers the surviving spouse also. A lot of people don't know that. Workman's comp will pay for this type of service. So there's a lot of different payer sources. So we take the philosophy, cover in case, we shotgun blast everything. The worst thing that can happen is somebody tell us no, they don't qualify. But it's amazing what's out there that people don't know about.
Right.
And if we can't provide care for them, if they're not what we need, then we have community partners that we work with, and we reach out to them and we refer them to them. We do a warm welcome, like, hey, let me and introduce them, because it's overwhelming. And that just goes right back to the transitional care. You know, when you're in the hospital and you have, okay, you need to call somebody on this list, and they're going to follow up with you, and you don't know, your head's swimming.
Right.
So if we can come in there and alleviate some of that stress because we speak the language,
Right.
it's a win. Everybody goes home with everything that they need. The community partners that need to be in place are in place, and you have decreased readmissions, healthier people, healthier communities.
And maybe that's one of the most vulnerable. He said it's very overwhelming is just the not knowing factor. You know, they don't, because likely if this is the first parent they've had that has ever made it to this place in life, and they don't know what to do. And that's really encouraging that you guys can come in and ask effective questions and start giving effective feedback. I'm sure the stress level goes down pretty
It
quick.
does. And a lot of families live out of town.
Yes.
They don't live around here. Some people don't have children. Some people, unfortunately, have outlived their family, and they don't have a support system at home. So that's why I tell nurses in the hospital, like, look, your boots kind of stop at the front door. We can go, we can go to the house. We can see what they have, what they don't have,
Right.
and make sure that they're settled in place before they even go home. You know what's appropriate. Maybe we need to transition them to a rehab to buy some more time to get things set up.
Their house.
Yes.
So at times y'all do work as an advanced team. Like, you know, they're going to be discharged, so you can get ahead of it.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the goal, is to teach the healthcare system discharge begins on admission. Call us sooner rather than later, because doctors and tourists, they walk in at 5:00 on a Friday and be like, you're going home. And everybody's like, yay. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
It's not ready.
No, but if we have everything set up because they were admitted on Monday and we've been working all week long, it's a seamless transition. Like, yes, let's get out of here. Let's go.
You know,
How about that?
I've never heard a more balanced approach than what you've illustrated.
Right.
It works when it's put in place and implemented.
It makes me want to sign up. Like how do my relatives? I've got some that need help. Can you come on out today? You know, that's amazing. So if anybody's out there and they're hearing this show, especially in the Southeast Texas area, how do they reach out to you? How do they make contact with you and Synergy Home Care? How do they become a client?
They can just call 861-2000, 409-861-2000. They can go to our website and fill out a form, and then we get that and we can contact them. They can stop by the office.
If they have anxiety about filling out forms online, they can call
They
and
can
y'all
call.
can help them. So you
Yes.
can get personal contact. You don't have to depend on, the internet or a machine.
No.
It's going to be an actual real American person speaking English as their primary
One of
language.
my office team members. It might be me answering the phone.
There you go. So you're going to get
Out.
a Southeast Texas person answering the phone, and they'll walk you through the process. If you or a loved one can use this sort of care, by all means, reach out to Synergy.
Even if you don't need the care now, and I tell people, listen, even if you don't need the care now, just empower yourself with the knowledge of the resources that are out there if you ever need it. Let's be proactive, not reactive, because reactive is never a good
We
situation.
mentioned things like long-term health care. Obviously, that's purchased in advance. And so maybe even some counsel on what to include in that.
Yeah.
That may be something you got, because they may get offered that as a supplement in the plan, but they may not even know what it is. And
That's
so
it.
they say, well, just decide which packages you want. So maybe they can
Yes.
call on something like that as well. And
Yes.
say, well, let's talk a little bit about what could be happening soon.
Right. And if I don't know the answers, I will find somebody
Yes.
that knows the answer, and we will definitely get an answer to you.
What a generous opportunity.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing so much about that. That is amazing. Now, just so you and the audience know, this was not a paid advertisement. I guarantee you, if the chance comes, I would recommend my own family to
I
use you
appreciate
guys.
it.
That's truly
That's right.
amazing.
If you haven't picked up on it, Stephanie's been a friend of ours for a long time, many
Yes.
decades. And
Wait a minute. Why did you thought many decades?
Well,
I promised
You
her
should
I would
personally
not.
pick.
Yes, I promised her I would not discuss
But-
age. Chuck, however, did not make that promise.
I did not.
So he just kind of stepped in it a little bit there.
Yes. From, let's say we're calendar. And so
Check
that-
engine lights on.
that check engine light is on. Anyway, that being said, now you know why she is our friend. That's how generous that she is. And so I hope that you, when those times come, I hope that you know who to call now and with confidence, because as you can tell, she is well versed in her industry, and we have a lot of confidence in her as well. So,
Well, I've got some big questions for you.
Okay.
So, are you successful?
I think I am successful. No, I know I am successful.
There you
I know
go.
I am successful.
I believe you are as well.
Yes.
So, what separates a failure from a success?
Not learning from your failure. That's my philosophy. A failure is not a failure until you fail to learn from it.
There you go.
Because everybody's going to fail. It's inevitable.
There you go.
Because if you don't fail, you're not trying. You're not putting yourself out there. So we all have failures, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely, it is.
You have to learn from it. Just like your dad sit at the table. What did you learn from this? That was the last thing. Like, what did you learn from this? That my butt hurts now. I mean, from my knees to my butt, like the whole leg. That was more grading than him, but
I learned not to get caught.
that's right. Your track's better. Okay. Yes. Thank you for yes. It's that lesson. Yeah.
Rinse the mud off the four-wheeler.
Right.
Right?
Yes. Yes. But I think a failure is just not learning.
That's right.
that's right.
It's an amazing thing you bring that up, because when we are in the lesson circumstance, we're going to stay in that lesson until we learn from it.
Yes.
Yep. So,
And one of the things you have to learn is when to walk away. When to say, it's not the right timing, it's not the right circumstance, it's not the right opportunity, it's just not the right situation, and realize that it's okay to walk away and just learn from it.
give yourself freedom and permission
Yes.
to do it.
And give yourself grace. Don't beat yourself up. Don't compare yourself to people on Facebook. I'm fixing to launch a podcast, and I'm super intimidated by that. I've been contemplating it for 3 years, and
Have you named it yet?
I have.
What's it?
It's called the Healthcare Hive.
The health. There you go. Y'all heard it here
Healthcare
first.
Hive.
Make sure to be on the lookout for the healthcare hive.
Yes. What's buzzing in healthcare with Stephanie?
I love that.
Yes.
That's really catchy.
Yes. We're going to educate the community all about healthcare.
That's great.
That is.
Yeah.
I hope we can come on and be a part of your show.
Absolutely. You'll be there.
So, what sets you apart from other people?
Shoot, I don't know.
You already told us. You just don't remember. You want me to?
I think my integrity.
There you go. That was the word I had on my mind.
I think my integrity.
Good.
I think my drive to provide a better life for people,
Your
quality of
ambition.
life,
Yes.
ambition.
I love it. integrity was what was floating around in my head. I just wanted you to say it on your own.
Right.
That's beautiful.
In that same train of thought, so I know you like to teach and influence. Probably a lot of the folks you bring on, maybe some are seasoned employees, but maybe some are new. And so I know there's plenty of opportunities to learn. So before we leave today, I want you to be thinking about a message you would like to send to maybe someone who is about to approach their adulthood choices. They're looking at career options, like when you talked about back in the day. Was it going to be a florist? Was it going to be an ambulance driver or ambulance NASCAR driver? I'm sure that was thrilling.
Yes.
But either way, you were looking at options, but there had to be some philosophies inside to keep that drive alive of whatever it was going to be. So if you could speak to some folks in that age range, maybe that late teen, pushing early 20s, and say, here's some things I'd like you to keep in mind, whatever you choose. What would you like for them to know?
I would just say do self-reflection and ask yourself, and don't listen to the influence of anybody else. This is an opportunity to be completely honest with yourself and not be influenced by, okay, you need to go to med school, you need to go be an attorney, whatever. But ask you, what is your passion? What is your purpose? And what can you see yourself doing for the next 20 or 30 years? And what impact, what footprint do you want to leave behind, if any? For some people, that's not important to them. But what legacy, if you will, do you want to leave behind? Everybody's passionate about something. I mean, I didn't know this, so I really got into research and podcasts because I'm just not a tech person, but people that make tons of money just talking, that's what they're passionate about. That's their spiritual gift, is teaching and talking.
Yes.
So just ask yourself that, and then ask yourself and make wise decisions. You know, what would the 25-year-old Stephanie say to me now? What would the 30-year-old Stephanie say to me now? And think about the family that you might not have now, but you're probably going to have one day, chances are. What do you want to instill in them? Lead by example, make wise decisions. So that's what I would tell people.
Like, you walked right into something. You don't even know you did it. The way we end the show, every one of these interviews, we end it the same way, with my favorite questions. Okay. And he asked you one of them, but my favorite question is, if you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, not 25, we're going to go a little bit earlier.
Okay.
Let's go closer to the time when you and I first met.
Goodness.
So no, I didn't do that. I didn't tell our age. All I said was when we first met.
I did.
That's true. That's what you said.
I'm being careful. It's Chuck that's the problem. So if you went back to when you were about 16 or 17 years old, maybe even 18, just a few years ago. Yeah. Basically yesterday. And you could give yourself some advice. All you can do is give yourself advice. What would you say?
Here we do. Listen more. Don't respond so much. Listen and ponder it before you make a move. And listen again and ponder it again.
I love that.
A lot of people, well, I say a lot of people don't know. Most people that know me know that I had my daughter when I was 17. I was a senior in high school. And I had one of the teachers at school tell me, because I was track, one track where I could have gone somewhere with that. Nonetheless, but I had a teacher at the school tell me, you're never going to be anything having a kid in high school. And I'm literally checking myself out to go to a doctor's appointment. Now, my daughter, she's my best friend, Yeah. I wouldn't change anything. Ignorance is bliss. I've never been around kids, I'm just doing it, let's do this. And her dad and I, we're going, and she's like, you're never going to amount to anything. And that set a fire in me.
Yes.
And so I saw her later on, and I introduced her to my daughter and told her, you know what? Thank you. I wanted to thank you for telling me that, because you lit something in that 17-year-old that never went out. Because I realized then that I owed it to my daughter, who wasn't even born yet, to make sure that I did become something.
Did she apologize?
No, she didn't remember doing it. but she did. I remember it distinctly.
Well, of course. Yeah, those are
Yes.
scarring words.
But that just goes back, what people say, your tongue is the most powerful tool you have. So be careful. You might say, I'm sorry, but people hear it. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Because you know what? I might not have amounted to anything. I could have just wallered in it and been like, oh, I'm a teenage mom. I don't know. It's going to be hard. But maybe that's the thing. But I heard that and I was like, you know what? You're wrong. Yeah. You're wrong.
That is so fascinating. You took those words, those harmful, cutting, cheap words,
Something.
and you repurposed them as a challenge. And look at you now. Right? There's no one who can say you didn't amount to something.
Right, but that might not fall on everybody the same.
No, definitely not.
So people have to be mindful of their words,
right,
because you impact people in ways that you might not ever know. Like I didn't see her for years.
Right.
So,
but those words stuck with you.
They did. They absolutely did.
Different from the round table discussions, of which I'm sure came with its fair share of lectures and instructing. But what I heard you say was at the end, though, is that your dad would always ask you qualifying questions. What did you learn? What did you get from this? And if that one teacher, that one school person would have just approached you, say, with the art of a question and just says, okay, Stephanie, where do you see this going? Because the reality is you're pregnant, you're going to have this baby, you're going to be a little younger than probably prepared, but where do you see this going? And leave it at that. You could have said, I don't know. Okay, we'll be thinking about it in a week.
Right.
That's all she had to do, instead of indicting the rest of your life with nothing but what is actually just this wrongful, hurtful assumption.
Right.
And I love your challenge to say, just listen before you talk. But unfortunately, people don't, as if she took your choice personally.
Right.
And that had nothing to do with her.
Absolutely. And then there's people that will pour into you. Like I had a teacher, his name was Spencer Matthews, and he would come to my house after I had Morgan to make sure I did my schoolwork, make sure I knew what was going on, and tutored me in the house. And so he is one of the contributing factors that I was able to graduate high school. I mean, I was graduating high school regardless, but he assisted in that. And so don't give up on people. And if you feel the tug that you need to help someone, I believe that's the Holy Spirit telling you need to help somebody. And there's more ways to help than just throwing money out your window or handing them water or whatever. There's more ways. If you just look around, there's so many people hurting nowadays. And sometimes just a kind word, just a touch. How are you doing? Because I tell people, don't ask me how I'm doing unless you really want me to tell you.
That's right.
Because we want to know how you doing. What if I really stopped and said, I'm not doing well? You need to be ready for that.
That's right.
You need to be ready to answer the call when it falls in your lap.
And definitely can't be anecdotal. It's got to be purposeful.
Yes.
If you truly don't want to know what this is, come up with something else.
That's right.
Like a blessing. That would be big.
Right.
But
And I'm still working on the whole thing of listen and not listen to react. So I'm still working on it.
It's a battle.
it is.
It really is. And those of us from our generation, we have a hard time with that. We think we're helping.
Yes.
Yes.
And we have a bad tendency. I think all of humanity probably does this, but we listen to respond. We don't listen to hear.
Right.
But think about our generation, though. We were riding up on bikes, like, hey, what's wrong? Like we had to get involved. Like somebody's picking on you, let's go.
Yes.
So we were reacted like to situations. Nowadays, kids on phones, what are they going to, there's kids at 16 not getting their driver's license. I got it the day of. Let me tell you, my granny, I was talking about, drove me up there to the Coons County Courthouse the day of. I'm getting my driver's license. That was freedom.
I got one at home that's going to be 19 on Friday. Still doesn't have her drive.
But do you take her places? Do you drop her places?
No.
Okay, well, I commend you for that. I would not.
We are challenging her right now to be resourceful and committed to herself.
Yes.
But that story gets really long because it goes into all the other things we've already discussed. But I'll tell you what, Stephanie, it has been an honor and a privilege to have you with us as a guest on the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. It's been great. Even though we've known each other the large majority of our lives, I feel like I know you so much better now.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me. This is great. What y'all are doing is great.
And I hope that our audience will definitely utilize your business as a resource. Tell them again where to find.
We're on 2225 Calder. You can stop by our office. We have a whole skills lab in there. If you want to learn how to transfer your loved one, just look around. You're welcome to stop by. You can call us at 409-861-2000, or you can find us online. And we go all the way to the Lakes area.
Very good. And she's very soon, y'all stay tuned. She's going to be putting out her podcast. What was the name of it again?
The Healthcare Hive.
The Healthcare Hive.
Yes.
What's the buzz with? That is amazing. We look forward to that. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode of the Pursuit of Purpose podcast. I'm Rob, and today we've had with us
Stephanie.
And thank you for allowing us to become a part of the pursuit of your purpose. Y'all have a great day.